Hello, Elly here from Thankful Flow Yoga, and thank you for being here with another one of my YouTube practices. So this one today is a yoga stretch and a little short yoga flow that is perfect for runners. So we're going to be working with quite a lot of stretching through especially the lower body, so through the kind of posterior chain, but looking at stretching through the hamstrings, the calves, and also opening through the hips and the groin. But we will also be, and I'll talk you through a few of the poses that we'll be doing are really great for core and re-energizing. And, also worth mentioning that, running is as we know, a breath-led sport, and yoga is a breath-led practice. Therefore, there's a lot of breathing benefits, a lot of connection there between running and yoga in that sense as well. So a regular yoga practice is something that can really, really benefit. Whether you're a runner or not, this is a juicy, stretchy, kind of quick practice that could help with many different sports, or even if you're not doing any sports, because we'll be stretching and opening through the body and doing some re-energizing poses as well. So I would recommend today, if you have a strap to hand, that would be really, really handy. I'm going to instruct with a strap. If you really don't have a strap or a dressing gown tie or any equivalent, then you can just use your hands, but you may need to just adapt it slightly. And yeah, we will get started in a lying position on your mat. So meet me in a lying position. Have your strap to hand. And we will ground for a moment in the lying position first of all. So you can close off your eyes for a moment and relax through the hips and the shoulders and let them sink into the mat. And let your toes drop out to the side. Release and relax through the body here. Start to monitor your breath. Start to notice your inhales and your exhales. Notice how they feel, how your breathing feels. Does it feel free? Does it feel restricted? Somewhere in between. There's no right or wrong. It's not a test. Just becoming aware of how your body feels today, how your breath feels, and what that could mean for you. Observing any thoughts passing through your mind. And noticing any sensations in the body. Now opening the eyes back up if you had them closed. I want you to grab your strap and bend this left knee in first. Bend the left knee in, place the sole of the foot on the mat. Don't know why I get those confused. And then bring this right foot up towards the ceiling and get your strap and place it around the ball of the right foot. And just make sure that your toes are free, so we don't want to restrict the toes here. And then find some length through that leg, through the right leg. It doesn't mean that the right leg needs to be straight. If it's not straight, you're feeling the stretch, then that's all good. And then once you found that position, see how it feels to slide your hands down the strap and bring your arms to the mat. So your elbows are coming down to the mat. So we want the arms to be as passive as we can here. And then chair the so gently, guiding this right leg in towards the body. And then option to lengthen through the left leg if that feels good too, but you can keep it bent if that feels more supportive. So we're really starting to open up through the back of the right leg now. Keep your shoulder blades connected to the mat. If you're finding that you're kind of holding tension here or shoulder blades are coming away, then you need to slide your hands down the strap and adjust the hands. here to keep the connection of the shoulder blades to the mat. We want this part of our body to be as passive as possible. We're just focusing on getting the opening through the back of the leg. Take the strap into your right hand, start to guide the right leg out to the right, opening through the hips and the groin, and engage the right thigh, engage the right glute. So activating this right leg is going to support the hips here and support your body in the stretch. So try and bring some activation. And we're going to be working through these different stretches today. But of course, if you've got more time and you can stay in these stretches for longer, for at least kind of 5 breaths or more, then I would definitely recommend that. Or you could come to take a look at my membership, where we do kind of longer practices and kind of longer stretching. So start to guide your right leg back through to neutral. And then from there, bring the strap into the left hand and guide the leg over to the left ever so slightly, keeping the hips grounded. And you're going to feel this deep stretch through the hip here now. So this is really subtle movement. I'm not expecting your right leg to be kind of coming way over to the left or anything like that. Listening to your body, becoming aware of your limits. Feeling kind of discomfort in stretches is quite normal, but knowing the difference between that and sort of pain and something that's really not right within your body. Guide the leg back to neutral now and release. Let the right leg drop down on the mat. Take a shuffle shape wiggle through the hips. And then bring the left leg in this time. And again, you could bend the right knee in here, place the sole of the right foot on the mat to support. And then pop the strap around the ball of the left foot. Make sure your toes aren't really restricted. And then lengthen through the left leg. Slide the hands down the strap till the backs of your arms meet the mat, shoulder blades connected to the mat. Option to lengthen through the right leg and then guide this left leg in towards you. Feeling the stretch and the opening through the back of the leg. Notice how your breathing feels. Notice if you're holding any tension in the face here. Try and relax through all the muscles in the face and the jaw. Maybe even crack a smile. Start to bring the strap into the left hand and start to open your left leg out to the left, opening through the hip and the groin. Engage through the left leg. And keep your shoulder blades connected to the mat. If they're coming away here, then I would suggest reducing the range of movement with your leg. Slowly start to guide the left leg back into neutral. Bring the strap into your right hand and start to bring the leg over to the right ever so slightly. Hips are still grounded. And feeling the stretch through the hip, through the glutes. Not forcing anything here. Listening to your body. Easing off at any time. Start to bring the leg back to neutral and release it from the strap. Well done. Release the left leg down, take a little wiggle, release through the hips. And then bend both knees in and the soles of the feet planted on the mat. Bring your right ankle to your left thigh. So hook your right ankle on your left thigh and let the right knee drop out to the side. And then start to, you could either be working here. So this could feel like enough for you. If you want to take it the next step further, so we're in basically a lying pigeon position, you can release this left foot away from the mat and start to bring the legs in, and we're getting the hands and we're interlacing the hands behind the left thigh. So feeling a deep opening through the right glutes, hip, IT band, all the muscles there. Again, keep the shoulder blades connected to the mat. If they're coming away, adjust the hands or maybe reduce the range of movement in the pose. And this right elbow could be pressing lightly on the right knee, opening further into the stretch, maybe. And start to release the hands, bring the left foot back down to the mat if you brought it away. Unhook the right leg, window wipe the knees from side to side, and then come onto the other side. So we're hooking the left ankle on the right thigh, left knees coming out to the side, opening here through the hip. Maybe you stay here and work with this. Maybe this right foot comes away and the hands come and interlace behind the right thigh, stretching through the other side. Maybe this left elbow is pressing against the left knee. That's just an option. And release the hands. Bring the right foot back down to the mat. Release both feet to the mat and window wipe the knees again. And then start to hug the knees into the chest. And then we're going to start to take a gentle rock back and forth. So you could pop your hands behind your thighs here, taking a gentle rock. And seeing if you can rock yourself up to seated. No worries if you can't. Make your way up into seated however you need to. And we're going to bring ourselves into tabletop position now on the mat. So bring yourself into an all fours position. Shoulders above the wrists, hips above the knees. Take the right leg out behind you, tuck the toes under, and start to feel a stretch and opening through the back of the right leg. So we should be starting to really feel open through the glutes and hopefully the backs of the legs now. Taking a gentle rock back and forth here if that feels good too. Light engagement through the core. Bring the right leg in, bring the left leg out, tuck the toes under, feel the stretch. And again, gentle rock back and forth if that feels good for you. Return to your breath. Bring the left foot back in, tuck the toes under, and on an exhale, we're going to send the hips to the sky for your downward facing dog here. So, pressing the mat away from you with your hands, finding space through the shoulders, through the spine. Finding length through the legs and the heels coming towards the mat, but that does not mean that legs have to be straight and that feet need to be flat. The most important thing is your length through the spine, and relax the head and the neck. Send your gaze between your knees. Now, downward facing dog is really great for re-energizing. It's a slight inversion So it means that the blood flow is increasing to the head, to the brain, and this can help with concentration and focus and with your energy levels. So staying in downward dog for longer periods of time is a really, really great place to be. It's also stretching, of course, through the lower back and the backs of the legs. There's also an element of core and of course strength. So there's a lot going on here, but lots and lots of benefits to be had. So it can feel like a really challenging place to be. It's a really great one to bring into your practice as much as you can. And start to walk your feet in on your next inhale. And hang down in a forward fold at the top of your mat. So feet roughly hip width apart, and just let the arms hang heavy. Soften the legs as much as you need to. Hands don't have to be reaching the mat, they can just hang wherever they are in your forward fold. And slowly start to peel the body up to standing. Head and neck coming last. You can have a rounded spine here. And then meeting and standing at the top of your mat when you're ready. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky, lift your ribs away from your hips. Exhale, forward fold, soften the knees as much as you need to. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Hands could be on the thighs, the shins, or the mat. Exhale, hands down to the mat, step back to your plank position or drop the knees to modify and work through your version of chaturanga. So wherever you are in your practice, you could be coming through on the inhale into either a cobra or an upward facing dog. If you're in upward facing dog, make sure the glutes and the legs are engaged and coming away from the mat. If you're in cobra, make sure they're engaged, but they can be, of course, on the mat. Exhale, everybody meet back in a downward facing dog. So you could be coming through tabletop position there or be coming straight back into downward facing dog. And relax the head and the neck, send the gaze between the knees. Keep bringing the hips up to the sky, making space through the spine. Belly button's coming in. Reconnect to your breath. Notice where you can feel the breath. Check in with how your body is feeling. Anything coming up for you today? And on your next inhale, step or walk the feet in towards the hands. Lift the chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, soften the knees as much as you need to. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands through heart center. Step the right foot back. And the front foot is facing forwards, and these right toes are coming out at an angle slightly, but the hips are shining forwards. Getting ready to come into our pyramid pose. So hips are shining forwards. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and then start to come into a fold. An option to take the hands to the elbows here to get an opening across the chest. As you come down, just an option. Keep the hands on the hips if you prefer. And lowering down maybe to this halfway point here. And so we're feeling the stretch through the back of the left leg here. And keep the right leg switched on, right thighs engaged, feet pressing down and away into the mat. So this is getting a really, really deep stretch again through hamstrings. You may be able to feel it in the glutes, calves. So keep the legs lengthened, keep this left hip tucked in. There's engagement through the core as well. Inhale, slowly start to come back up, keeping the spine lengthened. And we're going to pivot, coming into a wide leg position on the mat. Toes are facing forwards, or you can pigeon toe them slightly. Option to bring your hands to your hips, or you can keep the hands on the elbows here, or you could be in reverse prayer position if that's in your practice. And then we're going to inhale, reach the crown of the head to the sky, and then slowly start to come forwards here, Prasarita Padottanasana. So again, I'm going to come to this halfway point today with the opening through the shoulders. If you want to bring your hands down to the floor, you absolutely can. Maybe you're working with the hands being in line with the heels. Maybe you're somewhere further up than I am. It really, really doesn't matter. The most important thing is coming to that place where you can feel the stretch and the opening through the backs of your legs, possibly through the lower spine. Come to that place before your limit, being mindful of the hamstrings, giving them time to open. And see how it feels to lightly bring the weight forwards through the balls of your feet. Inhale, start to come up. And pivot around. So this time you've got the right foot in front and the left foot at the back. So the left toes are pointing out and the right foot is pointing forwards, but the hips are facing forwards and hips are square. Inhale, lift up and out of the waist first. So ribs are coming away from the hips. And then start to come forwards, taking whichever option that you're feeling for with your arms. Keep the left thigh engaged. Keep pressing the feet down and away from each other and keeping the right hip nice and tucked in. Inhale, start to slowly come back up. Step the feet together at the top of the mat. Take a little shake out here. Then we're gonna inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky, lift your ribs away from the hips. Exhale, forward fold, soften the knees as much as you need to. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bring the hands down to the mat. Step back and drop the knees straight down, come into tabletop position. Then we're going to sweep this left foot through between the hands, coming into a low lunge. And for support here, you could have some blocks framing that front foot. You could be resting your hands on the blocks, so that's an option. Or inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky here. Checking that this front knee is roughly in line with the ankle. You could take any support under the back knee. So if you've got a blanket or a cushion to support the knee there, you can take that. And really engaging through the thigh and the glutes. And this is stretching through the right hip flexor here as well. So you may be feeling a stretch through the groin. But there's also this hip flexor that's opening up as well here. And then from your low lunge, either using your blocks to support you, you're going to start to bring the weight back into the right leg. And we're going to find a stretch through the front leg here, coming into Ardha Hanumanasana. So this is half split position. Now, you're bringing your left toes away from the mat, finding length through the left leg. But if your leg is kind of bent like this, that's absolutely fine. Just come to where you can feel the stretch. And this is where the blocks may come in for you, to try and keep space through the spine and space across the chest. So trying your best to not to round the spine here. Maybe you're working with the hands on the mat. Maybe you're coming into a little fold here, being mindful to keep length and space through the spine. Inhale, make space. Exhale, release into the stretch. Again, this can feel like a really intense place to be. It's also strong on the back leg. Hopefully at this point you're feeling more open. And you can start to bring the weight forwards. Bring the hands down to frame the front foot. Step the left leg back and bring the right foot through this time, coming into a low lunge on the other side. And again, taking any blocks that you need for support. Hands could be on the blocks, or you can inhale, reach the arms up to the sky, lifting up and out of the waist. Right thigh and glutes active. And then again, start to shift the weight back onto the left leg as you bring the right toes away, coming into an opening through the right leg, Ardha Hanumanasana. But again, it doesn't matter if this front leg is bent, as long as you're just coming into the stretch here, using your blocks, using what you need to support you. Maybe you're coming into a little fold. On every inhale, make space, find length, and then on the exhale, melting into the fold. And start to bring the weight forwards, back into the front foot, and then you can release the front foot when you're ready. And then from here, sit the hips back towards the heels and melt the forehead and the chest down to the mat for child's pose. So we're going to go around for a moment in child's pose before we finish the practice today. So you could either have your hands stretched out in front of you, or you could have them at your side if that feels more restorative for you. And try to release and relax all the muscles here. So if child's pose doesn't feel restorative for you, then you can come into a lying position or a seated position here instead. We really want to bring the body into a passive position here. Returning to your breath. Perhaps noticing how the lower body now feels, how the hips are feeling, how the legs are feeling. As always, having some gratitude for yourself, for giving yourself this time, for nourishing and looking after your body and your mind. Slowly start to come up from your child's pose now, opening the eyes back up and coming back to a seated position on your mat. And as always, if you have longer, please take your time, stay in your child's pose for longer, come into a shavasana or a meditation now. If you're ready to finish off the practice, then you can come to a seated position on your mat and open your eyes, maybe taking a steady gaze to the ground or somewhere out in front of you. Thank you so much for being here and doing this practice with me. I hope that you found it helpful. Let me know how you got on, if you want to see more sort of either yoga for runners or anything that will be helpful for you. Please do let me know. As always, I do have a membership and live Zoom classes. So do have a look in the link below if you're interested in that, where we've got kind of longer practices and more extensive kind of explanations for breath work and asana alignment and many things. So yes, thanks so much, and I can't wait to see you again very soon. Bye bye.